Although the markets have moved up quite aggressively, specifically Bitcoin now above $70,000, the price action of XRP has been somewhat disappointing. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on XRP, and I'll be sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the price action is heading. Guys, let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another XRP video update. My name is Nick and today we are discussing the technical analysis on XRP. As I get into today's video, guys, and you do find it useful, informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and stay up to date with all the content that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right guys, let's waste no more time. Let's get right down into today's video. So XRP paired up with USDT here on our one-day Binance chart. You can see that we've been tracking this ascending wedge. Now, an ascending wedge, unfortunately, is a bit bearish. Now, there is, of course, some pros and some cons to what is going on here. Let's talk about kind of the positive, right? The positive is that this ascending wedge is actually more of a triangular based pattern if we were to connect the wicks or even the bodies. If I actually move this down, you can see it's more of a triangle than it is any kind of ascending wedge. But if we take the wicks into consideration, it's an ascending wedge, which would be bearish. So we want to be a little bit aware here that this has the ability to invalidate and have massive breakout to the upside. At the same time, though, considering how the market moved yesterday and XRP kind of did nothing major, actually I would say that there's a high probability that the ascending wedge is valid and we're likely to see a move to the downside, which brings me into some of the other technical indicators that are going to help us understand where the price action is and where it is likely to go next, at least from a high probability perspective. Here we can see on the chart we have a white line coming through, a blue line and a yellow line. The white line is the 200-day exponential moving average. The 200 EMA is a trend filter. So when price is lower than the 200 EMA, it's bearish, and when it's above the 200 EMA, it's bullish, right? Really simple. The 50 EMA is also a bit of a resistance or support area. That's the blue line coming through here. At the moment, this is heavy resistance for XRP's price. And then, of course, we've got the yellow line, which is the 50 simple moving average. This one is acting both as support and resistance at times. You can see at the moment it's acting as support after it was previously resistance through the price action here. So when we take a look at this, the main takeaways are that the 200 EMA is our trend filter. It is heavy resistance. It is basically suppressing the price of XRP. We also see that the 50 EMA isn't helping the situation either and is also creating a bearish situation for XRP's price action. Now, the ascending wedge in itself is bearish. It's known as a continuation pattern, and we will be looking to continue what led into this move, in my opinion. That was, of course, downward price pressure from the highs that we saw up in March of 2024. Okay, so if we go ahead and bring on an arrow here, we can see that we had this move to the downside. We actually wicked all the way down to this low of 41.88 cents, and so this continuation pattern is likely to take us down a little bit deeper in the price action. This would be known as a three-wave correction. Okay, we do already have a three-wave move right here. Okay, so this kind of gives you a little bit of confidence. We had some overlap to prevent any kind of impulsive breakdown, but we do have three waves here. We then have our ascending wedge, which is basically just a series of corrections. And all of this will come into a larger three-wave move, in my opinion, where we'll look to finish this corrective action off slightly lower in the price action. Okay, so we'll be looking, in my opinion, to drop down lower than 41.88, but the minimum expectation would be 41.88. A double bottom, which a double bottom would be bullish. Okay, so for now, I'm expecting more volatility, and an indication to the downward bearish kind of price action that we've seen is very much testament to how yesterday's price action was, right? We saw that yesterday's market was incredibly bullish, and we saw some fantastic movements on some altcoins, and obviously Bitcoin back above 70K, which aren't major moves for those particular assets, but nonetheless, we did see some pretty significant moves with some altcoins. Anyone who's following my 10K to 100K challenge will know that I had a long position on Solana, right, targeting out that $175 range, which obviously we came into last night. Okay, so we know that some altcoins have had some pretty decent growth to them, but XRP unfortunately has not. And this is an indication that there isn't really an appetite for buying into XRP at the moment. And actually, we're probably going to take its toll over the next few weeks. So let's go ahead and take a look at Smart Money Concepts. Smart Money Concepts is in a bearish structure, as indicated with our change of characterization. That hasn't changed. Equilibrium is sat up above the 200-day EMA, so also showing us that there's going to be heavy resistance here. So if we aren't able to wick higher than the 200-day EMA, well, equilibrium is likely to be the resistance that we're going to hit. So if we do have a bit of a rally for XRP, then we're likely to find it getting suppressed at equilibrium, which for reference, guys, comes in at about 57.3 to about 58.9. Okay, so two areas that are kind of worth noting. Obviously have the equilibrium, that range. We have the change of characterization, and unfortunately there isn't much else to kind of discuss when it comes to any positive kind of price movements for XRP. Instead, we can see that we have this area of kind of buying pressure down here, a little bit lower. This was coming in at 45 to 49 cents. And we do have a weak low down at the discounted range, which is not likely to hold. Okay, we have a strong high likely to hold, weak low not likely to hold. That means that the support levels are weak, they're not strong. Okay, so Smart Money Concepts is basically tracking the idea that we have some more negative volatility to be seen for XRP's price action on the daily time frame. We bring up the stochastic RSIs. We can see that the daily stochastic RSI actually has a lot of momentum to it. However, it can still break down from here. This isn't an indication of anything more than a little bit of volatility that we are seeing inside the price action. We are, of course, oversold on the 1 hour, but the 8 hour is also showing some negativity. Okay, so just be aware that although there's some growth potential here for XRP on the daily time frame, I don't think it's going to hold all that much longer. Now, from an RSI point of view, you can see it's really struggling up at around that 50 level on the relative strength index, and that's the yellow line coming through the chart here. There's no divergences being noted though, so we aren't looking for a bearish divergence, hidden bearish divergences or anything like that. And so for the most part, it's actually not looking terrible on the RSI point of view. Now, if we bring the volume into play, you can really see here how this price has been going up into these kind of higher lows and lower highs, whilst simultaneously the volumes have been decreasing. So you have volumes decreasing whilst we're going up into these higher lows. And that, unfortunately, is a bit of divergence. Okay, it's not an RSI divergence, it's a volume divergence versus the price action. And that one there, to me, looks like we are going to be looking for breakdown out of this area into testing those lows at 41.88 or lower. We take a look at the MACD, but I don't think this is overly useful, specifically as it's very laggy in comparison to many of the other indicators. So I don't tend to use that one too much. Now, if we roll this up into a weekly time frame here for XRP, we can also see how we hit the high around 93 cents, and we are still looking for potential corrective action to bring us down in line to kind of creating a three-wave pattern. Okay, now this is really interesting because if we take a look at the macro levels, we can note that we had a fantastic run here where we have a three-wave move, which predicted out beautifully. And then, of course, we have another potential three-wave move coming in here, taking us down into this range between 33.46 and 46.16. And then this will be our kind of point to go long really heavily, because minimum expectations will be that this rallies up to at least the 93 cent, but probably significantly higher in another three-wave pattern. That three-wave pattern can be many different things, so just be very mindful over that. But for the most part, we have the kind of historical, well, I say historical, it's actually the 13th of November. 11th of November. This area between 66.13 and 75 cent is the resistance area. We've hit this a couple of times, and we are looking for moves to the downside here. At the moment, it's very interesting. We might rally back up into that area of resistance before we crash back down. But for the most part, I think we need to see what happens over the next probably 4 weeks or so to really get a good flavor on that. As I was talking about 200 EMAs on the daily time frame, here on the weekly time frame, we are above our 200 weekly EMA. So we're actually bullish here on the weekly time frame, right? As long as we remain enclosed above that 200 week EMA. But our 50 EMA, the blue line, is resistance along with our 50 SMA here on the weekly time frame. So yeah, we're basically getting pinched into here. So we probably will be looking for a breakdown, in my opinion, into those lower areas. And again, like I said, that minimum expectation at around 41.88 cent would be the minimum expectation, but we could potentially be coming down a little bit deeper here for XRP, which will be a fantastic opportunity to dollar cost average and build out those positions as time progresses. Now, for me, I got into XRP back in 2020 at some really good levels, specifically really building a heavy position after the lawsuit was filed. That was a fantastic buying opportunity after billions of dollars of damages to retail investors was created by the SEC because, they're living up to their mission statement and all that kind of stuff. Now, most recently, I say recently, it's not all that recent, I did manage to get in at 30 cent for an additional position as we had this move to the downside. So for the most part, I think XRP is kind of playing its part. It's playing quite nicely. I do expect us still to come on down a little bit deeper. And I do think we're going to have some fantastic opportunities to build out those positions even bigger should we want to do so. You can let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think we're going to have this great accumulative area for XRP once more? Or do you think we're only going to be on the up from now? You can let me know in the comments below. If you found it useful, smash the like button. If you happen to be new, welcome and subscribe and stay up to date with all the content that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't checked this video out, what are you doing? Check it out, guys. I don't think you'll want to miss this one.